Hey everyone, Luke here with another quick video. This video is going to be about the future of phone flipping and what I think is going to happen this year. So obviously, last couple of videos I've done, we talked about the recent price drops and I told people over the weekend to be careful about buying new sealed phones. So it turns out my prediction was right, and today prices have continued to drop. And I personally think that Apple and all the carriers are cracking down on the new sealed market and the exportation market. And I truly believe that this end of the business eventually will be much less profitable than it is today. I think that the carriers and Apple will make changes to the extent that will almost completely eliminate that side of the business to a certain extent. It's always going to be there, but I think that it's going to become much smaller, and I think that it's going to become a much more niche market rather than it is now, where it appeals to pretty much everybody out there. The one good thing about phone flipping is there are the used phones, there are the cracked phones, there are the water damaged phones, there are the phones that can be repaired and resold, or there is simply offering the service of repairing. A lot of people have been asking me this. What do you think of phone flipping, Luke? What do you think is going to happen in the future? Is it going to be around? Is it a sustainable business? And truthfully, it is. But there's a lot of factors in it that determine the prices and how profitable this business can be. So we've got to ask ourselves, in this business, what do you want to do? Do you want to focus on the part that may not be sustainable in the future, or do you want to focus on the side that's going to be sustainable? In my humble opinion, I truthfully think that in the future, the sealed, the new, the sealed lock, the sealed open, not sealed open, but the open with the plastic on the screen, basically considered new, even though it's not actually sealed. I think that this part of the market eventually, unfortunately, will decline. I think there's going to be a market still for that, but it's only going to be accessible to people who have lots of capital, who are working off very, very, very slim margins. As of right now, there's a lot of people buying and reselling sealed phones, but I think eventually it may become harder and harder and harder to get into that side of the industry. However, I think the cracked and used phones, I think that side of the industry is here to stay, as it always has been. That's good. A lot of used phones just come from common families, common people, etc. They're not people necessarily hustling or trying to make it a business. And I think the repair side of the industry is going to ever grow into something beautiful. Apple, unfortunately, is trying to make it very hard for people to start, third-party repair stores by not offering them parts, and certifying them, etc. That makes it very difficult. They recently certified all the Best Buy stores. A lot of Apple reputable, not necessarily certified, but very reputable Apple repair stores that offer third-party iPhone repairs were very upset at this. Best Buy, in my opinion, they're a great company, but they probably don't have necessarily the expertise of somebody who runs their own phone store that's really into it. Best Buy is a great company. I love Best Buy. I shop there all the time, actually, for computer upgrades, microphones, webcams, etc., for my YouTube videos, all kinds of stuff like that, office stuff, whatever. But the long story short is, it's upsetting. It's upsetting for the repair industry to see that, and although that's kind of a major hit, in my opinion, just because Apple, doesn't approve any of the smaller businesses out there, they're making it very hard for the smaller people out there in this industry. However, I think the repair will continue to grow into something beautiful. Maybe eventually Apple realizes that, there are people out there that are worthy of being Apple certified. However, the aftermarket technology, some aftermarket screens almost display better colors than the original Apple. And when I saw some of this, I was absolutely amazed. I can't remember who I saw it from, but he was a very reputable repair store, and he also has his own group on Facebook. But I was looking at some of these aftermarket screens, and the colors are almost more vibrant and more realistic looking on the aftermarket screen. So that's something very beautiful. So in fact, this may backfire on Apple in the future. Maybe people who are offering aftermarket repairs and they show the before and after screens, perhaps people will start to see that and they won't care to have Apple OEM parts, especially if the aftermarket stuff is less expensive also. So I think the repair side of the industry is here forever. I think the used market is here forever, but I truly think that the new and locked market, the new or new open market, I truthfully think it is a diminishing market. And I advise everybody out there that is buying and selling new phones, whether you're a flipper or you're a direct buyer or you're an exporter, be very careful. If you have 100 phones sitting that you paid $700 for and you are expecting to get $780 for or $750 for, and market prices drop and now you're only getting $680, that's like having hundreds of thousands of dollars invested in a stock and it goes down 10%. the new market, in my opinion, is starting to remind me with all these constant price crashes. I mean, we just had one with RSIM 13 or whatever. I mean, you know, an RSIM 12, whatever it was. You know, we've had a few crashes, you know, so I can't even list all of them off the top of my head. But the point is, I was just doing videos about RSIM 14 coming out and everything's back up. Prices are starting to stabilize. But it's like each RSIM, it seems like when each one comes out, they are crashing them faster than ever before. And so I really don't think that the new market is as sustainable as it used to be. So if you're buying this kind of stuff, tread carefully, be careful. But as far as the rest of the phone flipping industry, I really think it's going to be here forever. I think it's a great business for anybody out there asking, and I think you should get started today. Get your feet wet, get out there, post some ads, try and flip some phones. But as far as the new sealed industry goes, tread carefully. Be careful with what you're buying, and make sure that you're not offering too much, because prices are up and down right now, and it seems like these crashes keep happening more and more often. Back in the day, we're talking 3-4 years ago, these crashes didn't happen so often, but now it's like we just had one, you know, a month or two ago. Prices started stabilizing, now we're crashed again. So there seems to be a pattern here where they're trying to keep up. They're trying to make it crash faster, trying to make it so that the business model sinks. You know, people are cracking down, whether it's Apple carriers, whatever, they're consultants, but it really seems like they're trying to crash that part of the industry. And then, you know, like I said, the repair industry stuff that's going on, certifying all the Best Buys, not considering any small businesses. That's sometimes what happens in big business. Sometimes the bigger companies try and shut out all the small people. So just keep this in mind. You know, try and stay motivated and everything, but things are always changing and you have to adapt to them. So this is just kind of a prediction of the future for phone flipping, and just kind of advising people to be careful, make sure you adapt, stay motivated, of course, stay flipping, but be careful, because what is good sometimes goes away. A lot of times the things that are good get taken away. You know, you remember back when you were a kid, back in like the 90s, and they had, I don't know if anybody out there chews gum, I do. And I remember back in the day, they had this zebra rainbow gum. It was just super awesome flavored. I remember eating it as a kid, you know, chewing it, blowing bubbles, whatever. And it's like nowadays I can't find it anywhere. You know, certain rules go into place, you know, like you just think of stuff that eventually it's just not offered anymore, it's not there anymore, or things go out of business, etc. So while the business is good, guys, make sure you get into phone flipping, because right now it is good. Yeah, we have this crash right now, but it's still good, and it's probably going to recover soon, but they might start crashing stuff faster and faster and faster. So the best time to get started in this business is now, because you really can't predict the future. But just with the trend that I've seen in the recent crashes, this is kind of my prediction. So when it comes to new sealed stuff, for everybody that's been asking, be careful of it. Make sure that you're getting it for the right price that you can profit. And as far as used and everything's still going good. That's always a great industry, and the repair industry is great too. So that being said, hope this helps some of you out there that have been asking, you know, what do you think is going to happen in the future? This is truthfully what I think is going to happen. I think, you know, we're just going to have a more repeated pattern and a faster pattern of what's already been happening. So that being said, make sure you guys smash that like button, hit subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video.